Konoha may call itself the strongest village in the hidden world, but I'd argue it's actually one of the most cruelest and has been getting away with it for about 3 generations. Imagine a village that straps a weapon to a newborn baby and calls it a hero's burden, a village that destroys a war hero for the crime of saving his own friends, a village that locks an entire bloodline into a segregated district and watches them like criminals before they've done anything wrong, a village where 2 of its top leaders quietly run a child soldier black ops program and one of them still gets considered Hokage material. Now remember that this same village slogan is the will of fire, bonds, community, protecting each other. That's not irony, that's the Hidden Leaf Village. Today, we're breaking down 4 cases that prove the Leaf isn't the warm, found family utopia the anime wants you to believe. It's a village that abandons kids, punishes selflessness, isolates entire bloodlines, and is run for decades by men who either let it happen or made it happen on purpose. Let's get into it. Starting with the most obvious one, because the show never lets you forget it, Naruto Uzumaki. A newborn baby gets the 9-tail sealed inside of him to save the village. That's the deal. He didn't ask for it, he didn't choose it, it got leaked that Naruto's became the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, and then everything else went to crap. For 12 years, an orphan child gets glares in the streets, refused service in stores, talked about in whispers by adults who should know better. Kids his age are told by their parents to stay away from him, which means there isn't some organic mob mentality. It's literally just being taught generation to generation inside a village that prides itself on bonds and community. And here's the part that makes you get angrier with the villagers themselves. Hiruzen knew. He saw it happening. He had the political power to stop it, or at least soften it, and instead he basically lets an entire village psychologically abuse a child for over a decade because dealing with it directly was inconvenient. Quote unquote protecting Naruto by keeping the secret didn't protect him from anything that actually mattered. Loneliness, abuse, isolation. It just protected the adults from having an uncomfortable conversation. A village that lets a literal child carry that burden alone isn't a community, it's a system with a built-in scapegoat. Now here's the one people don't talk about enough because it exposes something even worse than mob cruelty. It exposes what Konoha actually values. Sakumo Hatake, the White Fang, one of the most talented shinobi the village ever produced compared to the legendary Sannin of the village. On a mission, he makes a choice, abort the objective to save his teammates' lives, and Konoha responds to a man who chose life over a checkbox on a mission report, public shame, professional ruin, social exile. The same village that worships the quote-unquote will of fire, the idea that protecting your comrades is the highest virtue a shinobi can have, destroys a man for doing exactly that. He's not just demoted or reprimanded, he's ostracized so completely that he takes his own life. The village barely blinks. Life goes on, missions continue, nobody in leadership steps back and asks, wait, did we just punish loyalty? This is the tell. Konoha doesn't actually value its own stated philosophy, it values mission success and outward reputation. The will of fire is a recruitment pitch, not an operating principle. Sakumo is the proof. The village will eat its own for betraying the mission, even when the mission is built on a body count of people who loved each other. If Naruto and Sakumo are individual failures, the Uchiha situation is institutional. After the 9-tailed attack on the village, an attack secretly orchestrated using Uchiha eye techniques, the entire clan gets treated as collectively suspicious, not investigated individually, not given due process. The whole clan, including kids who were toddlers when the attack happened, gets pushed into a segregated district, sidelined from major village operations, watched and surveyed by their own government. Think about what that actually does over a generation. You take a powerful, capable clan and you tell them implicitly and explicitly, you are not fully part of this village, you are a threat we're managing. You give them every reason to feel like outsiders and then act shocked when some of them start to think like outsiders. The isolation didn't prevent a coup, it built the resentment that made one feel justified. And the village's answer to a problem it manufactured was to authorize the eventual extermination of that same clan, which, depending on which version of event you weigh, was either fully or partially sanctioned by the very leadership that let the isolation happen in the first place. That's not a village protecting itself from a threat, that's a village manufacturing the threat, then solving it with a massacre and calling it necessary security policy. And here's where it all connects, because none of this happens in a vacuum. All 4 of these failures run through the same leadership. Hiruzen Sarutobi gets remembered as this charitable grandfather Hokage, but go back through the timeline. He's in charge during Sakumo's destruction, he's in charge during the Uchiha's isolation, he's in charge when Naruto is left to fend off an entire village's hostility with nothing but a hidden law and good intentions. Hiruzen's defining trait as a leader isn't malice, it's passivity. He sees the problem clearly and consistently chooses the path of least immediate conflict instead of the path of actual justice. That's not wisdom, that's a leader who keeps the peace by letting individuals absorb the damage the village should be addressing structurally. And if you want the clearest, coldest example of that passivity in action, look at the Hyuga Affair. A foreign diplomat from the Cloud attempts to kidnap Hinata and gets killed by Hiashi in the process. The Cloud demands Konoha hand over Hiyashi's body to resolve the diplomatic incident, and the village's solution, sanctioned all the way up to Hiruzen, is to invoke the Hyuga's branch family seal system and send Hizashi, Hiyashi's twin brother, to die in his place instead. Not because Hizashi did anything, not because justice is required, because the political math worked cleaner out this way. And the caste system the village itself built into the Hyuga clan made a branch member feel like an expendable solution to a problem the main house created. Hiruzen had the authority to intervene, to find another diplomatic path, to at minimum push back on a system where one twin is born disposable and the other isn't. He didn't. He let clan politics and internal caste hierarchy decide who lives, and a child, Neji, grows up fatherless because the Hokage's idea of leadership was to let the village's own discriminatory structure resolve itself. This isn't a one-off tragedy. It's the same pattern as the Uchiha. The Leaf Village builds inequality directly into a clan's bloodline. Main house versus branch house, just like the trusted clan versus the watched clan, and then acts shocked when that inequality produces bodies. Then there's Danzo, who's the active version of the same rot. Where Hiruzen fails by looking away, Danzo fails by leaning in, manipulating the Uchiha situation, running root as a Black Ops shadow government built on emotionless, loyalty-conditioned child soldiers, and treating the village's stability as something worth any number of secrets, unaccountable sacrifices for the protection of the village. The terrifying part isn't that Danzo is a villain, it's that he was a Hokage candidate, a guy whose worldview was considered a legitimate option for leading the village multiple times by the village's own system. So you got a leadership structure that oscillates between looking away while people suffer and actively engineers suffering for a perceived greater good, and in the Hyuga's case, looks away while letting a system it built do the engineering for it. Somehow the franchise still wants you to walk away thinking Konoha is the good guys by default. None of this means Konoha had no good people in it. It clearly does, but a village isn't defined by the kindest individuals living in it. It's defined by what its systems and its leadership allows to happen to the vulnerable people inside it. Naruto's childhood, Sakumo's death, the Uchiha's isolation and slaughter, Neji growing up without a father because of a caste system the village engineered, and a Hokage who let it run its course. Decades of leadership that range from negligence to outright corrupt. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. And the show wants you to feel the Will of Fire as something warm and unifying, but maybe the more honest read is that it's the story Konoha tells itself to avoid looking at what it actually is. If you think I'm being too harsh on the Leaf, or you think there's a defense for any of this, let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, click the card you see here, which goes into further detail as to why I see Hiruzen as a terrible Hokage. I'm the curly haired Hokage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.